Pom Pom Island, and Agnes here is giving me a wonderful massage. As we all know, our bodies can get a little bit tired from lugging around that camera gear. She's doing a pretty good job. I've already booked back in for tomorrow. But anyway, come and join me and let's have a look around Pom Pom and I can show you some more of the island. So welcome back to the trail on Pom Pom Island. As I said, we were going to show you around. It's a really, really beautiful spot. For those of you that don't know where Pom Pom Island is, we're about 45 minutes off the coast of Borneo. It's one of the very few islands found in the South China Sea. It's actually in the Celebes Sea, and it's a tiny, weeny island, hardly known to anybody. And so we've decided to come here and do some photography and find out what it's all about. So we've been really looking forward to it. For those of you that are wondering where it is and you want to check it out on Google Maps, just type in for your latitude 4 degrees and 36 minutes, and for your longitude 118 and 52 minutes. Okay, off Pom Pom for a moment and back into business. What's news this week? First of all, we congratulate Rosalind, who won our post-processing challenge with this image. And we also want to congratulate Pam, who won our themed image challenge this week. The theme was Golden Hour with this image. So congratulations both Rosalind and Pam. Wonderful images. Also this week, we went to PSQ, that's the Photographic Society of Queensland's annual conference. It was in Brisbane and there were a fair few people turn up, and it was great to catch up with some familiar faces. Next year PSQ is in Mackay, so a bit further to travel for those of us in Queensland. If you're after a really awesome photography conference to go to, Photokina this year will be held in Germany from the 18th to the 23rd of September. So it's one, if you can, to make sure you get there. I believe there's going to be some pretty exciting new announcements made in the cameras, so we'll all be keen to see what comes out of Photokina this year. Also this week, the World Press Photo 12 exhibition opened at the Powerhouse Museum in Brisbane. Most probably one of my most favourite exhibitions that goes to the Powerhouse in Brisbane. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss it because it finishes on the 24th of June, so that's a real bummer. So I hope some of you out there will go and have a look and give me your feedback on what you think of it. Canon released its new Rebel T4i EOS 650D camera this week. Now, quite interestingly enough, it's got an 18 megapixel sensor and a 9 AF point focusing system. The big news for Canon is this is the first touchscreen DSLR, and it's also going to offer continuous AF in its movie shooting mode. So that's pretty exciting news for Canon. This week there's been a bit of a stir cause for British photographers. British Rail has actually banned the photographing of children in most of their railway stations. It's quite interesting to see how all this is unfolding back in the UK, and I'll be interested to read more as the next week progresses. This week, did you know, it would have been Julia Margaret Cameron's 197th birthday. Now, for those of you into photography, Julia Margaret Cameron was a pretty amazing photographer. She got into photography rather late in life. Her daughter actually gave her a camera for her birthday when she was in her 40s, and she became well known for photographing celebrities and doing unusual sort of portraits. Julia wrote, "I long to arrest all the beauty that came before me, and at length the longing has been satisfied." How fabulous is that for a lady that long ago to have done so well in photography? Okay, one of the fabulous things that's happened to me here this afternoon was I went for a little walk outside my bungalow here on Pom Pom Island, and right in the shallows I counted, well actually I stopped counting at 12 turtles, big massive turtles, some of them coming right up to me. They're actually coming in here to nest at the moment, and it's just phenomenal. Now, yes, I was standing in the water with my new D4, so don't panic, I had it safely secured. But one thing that did come to me was how important it is when I'm photographing marine animals from outside of the water, the use of my polarizing filter, no matter what sort of day it is. Now, we've got a little bit of cloud cover this afternoon that's come in. It's cooled things off and brought in a little bit of a sea breeze, which is nice. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, and if you want to follow this link, just the difference it does make having a polarizing filter when we're photographing marine animals. So what's coming up this week? Well, for starters, just up on the website, we've put our next date for our street photography course in Brisbane at the Fortitude Valley. Our last one filled up in less than 24 hours. The next date is Saturday the 18th of August. So if you want to get a spot in that one, hop in, because it is only limited to 6 people, that particular workshop. We've got a couple of beginners coming up this week. We've also got the first of our workshop at Fort Linton. Now, Fort Linton is an amazing structure in Brisbane, and our first workshop there is going to be light painting. Fort Linton was actually first built before the First World War as Brisbane's main defence. It's an amazing historical building. For those of you that haven't been there, it's worthwhile having a look on the internet. So Anita will be leading that this weekend. We've got an intermediate workshop coming up. We've also got a Brisbane and Gold Coast at dusk coming up this week. Now, both of these we'll be doing our steel wool burning. Again, there's a couple of places left in either of them, so if you want a place, send us an email to info@blue-dog.com.au. Last week our question was, if Mount Everest was the highest mountain above sea level, what was the highest mountain if you included below sea level? Well, somebody did get it right. It is Mount Mauna Kea in Hawaii. That's on the Big Island, and I can say I've been there. It's awesome. You've got to go to the Big Island if you go to Hawaii. Don't miss it, and don't miss having a snorkel or a dive with the manta rays there. That was one of my highlights. We made it a double-edged question last week. It was also, which mountain range, if you had the choice, would you like to go and visit? Leading all the way was the Himalayas. A close second was the Rockies in the US, and third was the Australian Alps. This week I thought I'd bring you a little bit of a geeky travel fact. Did you in fact know that London's Metropolitan Railway was the world's first subway? The 6-kilometre section opened in 1863, so imagine back then all that steam and smoke and everything from those trains. It ran from Paddington to Farringdon. What I'd really like to know this week is, if you had your choice of any train journey, what would you choose and why? Tell me, write your comment below. Make sure you write it below, not on our Facebook page. It has to be here on YouTube so we can tally it up at the end of the week. So what would be your top rail journey that you could take in the whole world? That wraps up this week's Bluedog Photography and Travel Vlog. Thank you so much for joining me again this week, especially on this beautiful tropical paradise that we are at. I look forward to catching you next week. I wonder where we'll be next week as we're travelling around working. Take care, safe travels wherever you are, wherever you're going, and see you again this time next week. I did go back and see Agnes this afternoon. 1 hour massage, facial. I am feeling a new woman. Thanks, Agnes.